puts on his chef's hat and serves her a meal full of the most disgusting food items imaginable.
Bon appetit, bitch.
Hey, you can always count on Freddy with the one-liners. Bon appetit, bitch. Hey, what's happening, people? It's your boy Blaze here, back to you with another one here for Venomous Reactions. And today, we got ourselves a top 20 courtesy of Watch Mojo. And since we are in the Halloween season, this is a perfect fit. Like, we got the interrupter of nightmares, the creator of nightmares, the top 20 Freddy Krueger kills. I ain't gonna lie, man, Freddy Krueger, he has some savage kills during the whole Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. And if I could go to part 3 when he shoved old girl space right into the TV, or I forgot which one was it, when he sunk old boy into the mattress, and then afterwards you just see like a geyser of blood coming out the bed. I ain't gonna lie, man, that one is my top 5 for sure. So we're gonna see what Watch Mojo is talking about, and this one should be intriguing as we go down this good old nightmarish trip down good old nostalgia. So without further ado, let's get it.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 Freddy kills.
Oh yeah.
Playing with power.
For this list, we're looking at the nightmarish villain's best fatalities from the A Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. Beware of spoilers ahead. Which violent Freddy scene haunts your dreams the most? Let us know in the comments. Number 20, Jesse Gets Holy, A Nightmare on Elm Street. While the 2010 movie isn't perfect, it does at least have a pretty terrifying version of Freddy Krueger. Instead of relying on elaborate set pieces, this variant of the villain prefers to use brutally straightforward methods to take out his enemies. Jesse learns this the hard way after he entered the dream world.
Why are you screaming? I haven't even cut you yet.
Freddy stalks him like a predator on the hunt. Jesse is reduced to a blubbering mess before he receives a brutal blow to his body that leaves a gruesome mark. What made
I ain't gonna hold you. I did not see the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, but I heard it was serviceable at best. So I really can't say anything about it. I mean, I never saw it, so it's either here or there for me. I'm just saying.
What makes this simple attack stand out is that the victim doesn't die right away. As Jesse clings to life, Freddy promises to toy with him longer.
We got 6 more minutes to play.
Damn.
Number 19, Freddy Slays a Legend, A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. The most iconic heroine of the A Nightmare on Elm Street franchise seemed to meet a surprisingly straightforward end. When Freddy gets an opening, he skips the theatrics and simply stabs her to take her out quickly. However, that's not the end of Nancy's story. After he tosses her aside, she comes back and makes him hurt himself with his own knife glove.
The ultimate get back.
She manages to hold him in place long enough for her allies to finish Freddy off. Although Nancy doesn't survive her wounds, she still went out like a legend. While Freddy inflicted a fatal blow, he did not get the last word.
All facts, man. And the fact that Nancy finally got her not comeuppance, but she finally got the fatal blow to the very person that caused her so much grief from the first Nightmare on Elm Street. That was beyond satisfying. You know, even though she did succumb to her own injuries after getting impaled by the nightmarish man from hell. But still, seeing her go out like a true G, gotta love it.
Number 18, Coach Schneider Hits the Showers, A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. In A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, we're introduced to Coach Schneider. He's not exactly a great person. Schneider had no problem
was a dick.
tormenting his students for the slightest offenses. His unlikable nature made his demise one of the most satisfying deaths in the entire franchise. After sending Jesse to the showers, Schneider ends up in his office alone. Suddenly, the gym equipment in his room starts moving on its own. He's hit with a barrage of objects until a rope suddenly pulls him into the showers. The sequence ends with Freddy emerging from the steam and giving the coach a permanent timeout.
No! No!
Yes!
Number 17, like knives on a chalkboard. Freddy's Dead, the final nightmare.
This by far was my favorite too. What he did to Carlos in this one was so cold. Oh man, I'm gonna let them tell it. You're gonna see why.
Of all Freddy's many victims, he seemed to have an especially fun time tormenting Carlos. The villain puts the poor guy through multiple stages of hell in a particularly sadistic display. Freddy turns the hearing aid Carlos uses into some sort of horrifying parasitic creature. Then, the villain torments his victim by scratching his knives on a chalkboard.
No, please!
Yeah, that hearing was up by 9,000.
In the dream world, these sound waves are so intense that Carlos loses his head. Freddy cements his victory with a cheesy one-liner.
Nice hearing from you, Carlos.
The absurd and gruesome way Carlos is taken out may leave you laughing and cringing at the same time. Number 16,
I can see why.
Spencer gets a game over. Freddy's Dead, the final nightmare. While Spencer is hanging around a TV, Freddy takes him on a far-out journey through the TV and into a psychedelic video game. The villain has fun using a controller to make his prey move through the digital world. Spencer also has to endure psychological torment and faces off against video game versions of his dad.
Father knows best.
To make matters worse, Freddy can control his movements in reality too. Spencer slowly inches closer to his demise in both the game and on Earth.
Hey, you forgot the power glove!
Unfortunately, he ends up getting the worst game over of all. While the game's effects may look a little dated, they do not take away from the creativity of Spencer's end. Number 15, Kristen's Fiery Demise, A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master. A seemingly peaceful beach dream quickly became the site of one of Freddy's most memorable kills. After Kristen realizes the villain is nearby, she tries to escape and is pushed into quicksand.
Down you go.
She
Where you
proceeds to
may
fall
wind
into a
up,
much darker
we
and
don't know.
unsettling environment. When she attempts to get to safety, Kristen finds herself in a boiler room. She tries as hard as she can to stand up to Freddy and resist his nightmarish powers. However, Kristen is ultimately unsuccessul, and the villain makes sure her dreams of stopping him go up in smoke.
Now no one sleeps.
As he collects her soul, her real-world room burns to the ground. The disturbing imagery of Freddy's captured villains and hellish flames made this an extremely sinister scene. Number 14, Freddy vs. the Wizard Master, A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. After the Dream Warriors make their way into Krueger's world, Will finds himself alone and facing off against Freddy. It looks pretty grim for the bespectacled victim at first, but we had a glimmer of hope that Will might survive when he turned himself into a powerful dream wizard.
I am the Wizard Master!
I ain't gonna lie, man. This one was the most cringiest out of the part 3 of Nightmare on Elm Street. You know, him turning into a wizard, I'm like, okay. I mean, from like the visual standpoint, I get it, but you know, the way he was killed off, it just watered that down. You'll see why I said this.
He's able to blast away a nightmarish wheelchair with little effort. His confidence in his new abilities motivated him to try to take out Freddy by himself. But all of Will's magical strength proved useless against Freddy in the end. The villain puts an end to the wizard with a decisive stab.
Sorry, kid. I don't believe in fairy tales.
Seeing Will perish after gaining so much power was a crushing moment that reminded us how unstoppable Freddy is. Number 13, Sheila's Sucky Fate. A Nightmare on Elm Street 4,
Yo, this
The
one
Dream
was
Master.
grimy.
The studious Sheila falls asleep in class after pulling an all-nighter. This paves the way for Freddy to step in as the worst substitute teacher ever. After Freddy makes his presence known on her test paper, his hand leaps out of her desk. She manages to fight off the attack before Freddy appears at the front desk. He slowly makes his way to her desk while she's frozen with fear. Once Freddy reaches her, he twists the fact that she has asthma and literally sucks the life out of her.
Wanna suck the face?
No.
That is a tragic way to
The
go out.
horrifying symbolism of her demise and the fact that it happened in a classroom make her end really unsettling. Even when she was surrounded by her peers, they couldn't keep her safe from Freddy. Number 12, Greta Gets a Mouthful. A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. Tonight's menu consists of one-liners and a healthy helping of body horror. When Greta is at a dream dinner, she's horrified to learn that Krueger is going to be the chef. He put
I ain't gonna lie, man. This one was the most funniest. And think about it. The way you die is pretty much having a mouthful. Tragic.
puts on his chef's hat and serves her a meal full of the most disgusting food items imaginable.
Bon appetit, bitch.
And you can always count on Freddy with the one-liners. Bon appetit, bitch. Yo, speaking of one-liners, I hope the one I mentioned earlier, I hope this is in this countdown. I hope.
Greta is left with a mouthful of horrific dishes and desperate to escape. While this version of her ending was bad, her demise was originally so gruesome it had to be edited to keep the film at an R rating.
Damn. Nope.
The scene's terrifying makeup, parallels with real-life issues, and sheer grossness make it hard to stomach. Number 11, Freddy Goes Through Jesse. A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. Throughout
poor
A Nightmare
Jesse.
on Elm Street 2, Freddy dives deep and focuses on breaking Jesse's spirit. The poor victim constantly questions whether he's losing it or not.
Oh yeah, he was losing his shit, alright. Yeah, Jesse never stood a chance.
Freddy takes advantage of Jesse's crumbling psyche for a really visually striking scene. The victim suddenly experiences pain while he's in a room with Grady. Suddenly, Freddy's knives come out of his hands. The villain proceeds to literally emerge from Jesse's body in an unforgettable scene of body horror. The special effects in this sequence hold up absurdly well. All the horrifying elements build up to Grady's simple yet highly effective death. Number 10, Dan Races to His Doom. A Nightmare on Elm
Yep.
Street 5, The Dream
Yep,
Child.
this one was
There's
creative
no
too.
outracing Freddy. When Dan finds himself in a truck, Freddy makes the vehicle careen out of control.
Put your pedal to the metal, man.
Nope. Don't stop it for you, Danny boy.
Unfortunately, his terrifying ride with the villain does not end there. Dan is eventually ejected from the truck and tries to speed away on a motorcycle. But to his horror, the vehicle begins fusing with his body. The movie shows every second of this unbelievably painful process.
You got that need
By the
for
time the
speed,
scene
my
is
boy.
over, we can barely recognize Dan underneath all the metal and suffering. His life comes crashing to a halt after his absurdly terrifying fusion is complete.
Brutal.
This creative and intense demise stands as one of the most memorable of the fifth film.
Yeah,
Number
I
9,
can see why.
The Entity's frightening homage. Wes Craven's New Nightmare. New Nightmare presents
Yeah, that one, I like that one because it paid homage to the first film. Except, what I say was the one in the first one more brutal or this one? I don't know. I mean, both of them were quite gruesome, though. I mean, to all the people out there that watched the whole Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, I'll let y'all take y'all pick.
It's a clever twist on the Elm Street formula.
We've got a big surprise for you, Heather, and for our audience. Let's bring him out. He is the best of the bad. Let's say hello to Robert Englund.
In this movie, Freddy is just a fictional movie character until a supernatural entity starts masquerading as the villain. The innocent Julie has no idea that it's coming for her in this gruesome display. Although she's unable to see the entity, it sneaks up on her and swiftly attacks.
Nighty-night.
Julie is thrown and pulled across the room as the villain revels in the horror. Her fatal encounter with the entity also pays homage to another demise on this list. While the people in this universe may have seen the movies, it didn't help them avoid becoming victims themselves. Number 8. Mark Gets Horrible Paper Cuts. A Nightmare on Elm Street 5. The Dream Child. During another pop culture-driven dream, Freddy drags Mark into a comic book and starts playing mind games. The creative and comical setting made the scene instantly stand out. But things get really good after Freddy destroys a creepy porcelain doll of Greta. Mark tries to avenge her by becoming a gritty superhero. As he puts the hurt on Freddy, a heroic theme starts playing. But the villain puts on some serious muscle and decides to cut the hero down to size. After turning Mark into a comic character, Freddy shreds his paper opponent into ribbons. As entertaining as this comic book sequence was, it can definitely inspire its share of nightmares. Number 7. Joey's Dream. A Nightmare on Elm Street 4. The Dream Master. After barely surviving Freddy's cruelty in Dream Warriors, Joey once again finds himself in the killer's crosshairs in the sequel. Despite the hero's resilience, he can't get out of the way of Krueger's claws this time around. Joey is unwinding when suddenly his bed starts rocking back and forth.
Oh yeah, Joey, you're screwed, my guy.
He investigates and sees a swimming woman through his waterbed that we definitely cannot show on YouTube. As soon as she goes away, Freddy pops up and drags him into the water.
How's this for a wet dream?
Although Joey tries his best not to drown, it isn't long before the water turns red. It's a shame he fell for the old model in the waterbed trick. Number 6. A highly unfortunate face-off. A Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Dream Warriors. Taryn was one of the toughest people ever to face Freddy.
Let's dance.
Ooh, a knife battle. Woo. Who's gonna win?
Although she was ready to take him down in a fight, her old demons came back to haunt her. After a brief scrap, Freddy psychologically destroys Taryn by bringing up her past issues with illegal substances. The villain even turns his fingers into needles to further demonstrate his point.
Let's get high.
Let's go to the moon. Time to go to the moon, Taryn. Oh.
Seeing Freddy psychologically and literally get under her skin in this scene was devastating.
Literally.
Unfortunately, she couldn't overcome Freddy during this harrowing encounter. The way he weaponized her own fears against her was unbelievably tragic. Number 5.
I knew that would make the cut, but yo, that one with Taryn, when Freddy ejected her with a massive load of I don't know what that was, but I'm pretty sure that was heroin, but I'll leave that to interpretation. But yeah, she took a massive dose, and yeah, that was a sad way to go out. But this one right here, whew, I'm surprised this is not number one. But I want to know what is number one.
Jennifer's Big Break, A Nightmare on Elm Street 3,
at least it's
Dream
in the top
Warriors.
5, though.
One of the earliest deaths in Dream Warriors is gloriously over the top. When Jennifer fails to stay awake in a rec room, she finds herself in front of a malfunctioning television. She knows she's in real trouble when Freddy makes a guest appearance on the small screen.
Who in the fuck what you think?
That's one hell of
After
a way to
hitting
make
the
a
TV,
cameo.
mechanical Freddy hands pop out of the sides. Once Jennifer is in his grasp, he drops one of his most notorious one-liners of all time.
This is it, Jennifer. Your big break in TV. Welcome to prime time, bitch.
It's not long before he finishes her off in gruesome fashion.
That is by far the most iconic Freddy line ever. And to make it even better, that one wasn't even written. That was improvised. Like, welcome to prime time, bitch. I love it.
The absurd dialogue and hamminess of Jennifer's demise gave us a scene that we could not turn away from. Number
Hell
4,
no.
Debbie Gets Squished, A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master. Even the worst characters in the franchise did not deserve the absolutely cruel and lengthy end that Debbie faced. When she falls asleep while working on her fitness, Freddy pops up as her spotter.
I don't believe in you.
I believe in you.
He uses the opportunity to severely damage her arms. As if things weren't bad enough, Debbie starts growing multiple insect limbs. She ends up running straight into a human-sized glue trap and getting stuck. And since Freddy didn't think Debbie suffered enough, she fully transforms into a cockroach. Her hellish nightmare reaches an abrupt end when
that's
Freddy
a hell of a way to
crushes
go
her
out.
with his hands.
You can check in, but you can't check out.
Wah, wah, wah.
While we never forget this absolutely horrific sequence, we still question why he went above and beyond to torment Debbie this way. Number 3, Glenn Falls into Bed, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Normally, the A Nightmare on Elm Street franchise isn't shy about showing us exactly what happens to victims in the dream world. But one of the first movie's most notable ends happens mostly off-screen. The iconic scene starts with Glenn lying peacefully on his bed with his headphones on. Suddenly,
Glenn, you had one job, bro. One job. One job. And that was to stay awake. And you couldn't even do that, you idiot. And you wonder why you got what you deserve, you dumbass.
Freddy drags a screaming and struggling Glenn into a hole in his bed. A moment later, he's gone, and the audience sees a ton of red evidence that the villain was there.
Oh, yeah. Yep. So long, Glenn, my boy.
By leaving it up to us to imagine what happened to Glenn, his demise becomes darker than anything the filmmakers could have put on screen. Number 2, There Are Strings on Philip. A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. Dream Warriors wasted no time showing how gruesome it could get. In a twisted turn of events, Freddy transforms Philip into a marionette with some truly disturbing strings.
Fella, wake up. Have a nice stroll, asshole.
But the villain was just warming up.
You
Freddy decides
idiot.
to continue tormenting his victim by leading Philip to a tall precipice. Once the unfortunate soul is high enough, the villain sends his prey plummeting to a certain doom while screaming witnesses look on. Grisly and inventive, this death serves as
That
a
was
prime
inventive,
example
though.
of why A Nightmare on Elm Street has persisted as a staple of horror. Could anybody but Freddy Krueger dispatch an enemy like this? Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, Tina Gray's shocking end, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Sometimes there's just no beating the original. A Nightmare on Elm Street couldn't have delivered
I can
a
see why
better
this is
first
number
demise
one.
than what happened to Tina. The movie initially made it seem like Tina would be the main protagonist.
Please, God.
This is God.
However, it isn't long before Freddy hunts her down in a scene full of iconic imagery. Her eventual death incorporates many elements that would come to define Freddy and the series at large. It incorporated the villain's twisted sense of humor, had impressive practical effects, and ended in a brutal way that we could never forget. As soon as Freddy took his first victim, he cemented his place in horror movie history. Do you agree with our picks?
Yep.
Check out this other recent clip from Watch Mojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.
I can see why all those kills made the list, and I ain't gonna lie, some of those kills were, I ain't gonna lie, low key they were watered down. Like it was like a simple like gut shot or something cringe as the way they would die. But I would say a few of those that I mentioned, I'm glad they made the cut. I'm glad they made the cut. And it showcased how savage Freddy Krueger was. I mean, he did not care how he was gonna get you or how he was gonna kill you, but you was gonna get got. Soon as you shut those eyes, oh, it was GG's. No matter what, it was game over. Yeah, you might as well write them. You might as well write them off right now. But I want to know what y'all thoughts are about this one. Yo, which of Freddy's kills did you think shocked you the most? Yo, let the comment section have it. And as always, thank y'all for tuning in. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this one, and don't forget to tell your peoples across the globe. Yo, kick it with your boys. It's one good solid time. And you already know what to do next, fam. Follow your boy on social media right over yonder. And this here's your boy Blaze here saying, check that deuce, and I will see y'all in the next video. And I'm out.